really a more precise detection and forecast. And the forecasting also must be tailor fit to the area. Like because you know most of the people were anticipating winds that will blow the roof out. They were not anticipating a kilometer inside of 8-foot water or even 10-foot water would come into the roof. So we're not anticipating that.
Mismatch between the early warning and the practice and people's expectation. It's deadly.
And what we're looking at now, because when other agencies like Tacloban here, it is in actually between Samar and Leyte, and this is it's like a funnel that it enters, and there were proposals in building a concrete barrier here. But you see, I was here during the storm, and my problem if we put a high barrier there is when the tide recedes back. When it comes back, then it will do a lot of damage also here. So there's a plan now that because this is San Juanico Strait is about 10 miles long, and the current here is strong during high tide and low tide, shifting of current. So even in this area, we tried it. If you reclaim like 100 meters, putting rocks, eventually the land reclaims itself because of the tide. The sun goes up. So we're thinking of doing some of that here. And in this area here, creating like a forest, sea forest.
Yes.
And this area, for example, this bay, the problem we had here is that the deepest portion here is only 12 feet. But 90% is 3 to 4 feet that you can practically stand. Very shallow. That's why this bay was almost empty 20 minutes before the storm hit. The storm was counterclockwise, so it was blowing the water away. And this is what happened. That's why many of them panicked when they saw that there was no more water. They started running away. And the plan here now is if they build a causeway here and eventually drain the water here to about a foot deep, and eventually plant mangroves here and put forest, so it can absorb now a lot of water coming in.
So when was this seawall here built?
The seawall here was built, it started in the year 2000.
And what was the logic of building when people built this? What was...
That's the airport.
To
the
airport,
yes.
And the seawall was built here actually to prevent the because as time goes, the water started eating toward the runway, so they put a seawall to prevent coastal, it. Yes, but actually what they have to do is to build maybe about 3 meters wide of concrete going out, and then it will reclaim itself. That's the idea that we're looking at. But we need a tide expert to look into that, because we might be reclaiming here, and eventually our port, which is over here, might be all of a sudden become shallow. So we have to see what are the effects. Because most of these areas here are shallow. There's just a canal for the ships to come in. So if we touch something here, it might affect other areas.
Somewhere else for sure.
Yes.
And maybe there is an